I wasn't in the wedding album. Not a single photo, not even in the background. There were pictures of Amanda's parents smiling beside her, of bridesmaids adjusting her veil, of David laughing with her brothers at the reception. Her flower arrangements had more documented presence than I did, and I'm the groom's mother. I scrolled through the album she posted on Facebook, my thumb slowing over each perfectly filtered moment. Not one image of me, not one handshake, one hug, one trace that I was even there. But I had been. I had sat in the third row during the ceremony. I had brought the dessert table's entire spread, homemade pies no less. I had clapped when they kissed, toasted with sparkling cider, stayed late to help gather flower petals from the floor when the venue emptied out. But to the world, I was invisible. So I made my own album. It started with one photo taken late that night in my hotel room. I stood in front of the mirror in the navy blue dress I'd picked out months in advance. My lipstick slightly faded, my eyes tired but wide open. I smiled, not because I felt joyful, but because I was still standing. The next morning, I pulled out my old photo box. I hadn't touched it in years. It was filled with snapshots of moments no one ever asked me about me, and David in the park, with popsicles, me sewing his Halloween costume, me at his graduation, teary-eyed and proud. These were the photos no one had ever posted, but they mattered. Maybe more than any professionally edited wedding portrait ever could. I scanned each one. Then I added captions. Not sarcastic, not bitter, just honest. He was 6 here. I stayed up until 3 a.m. making that costume because he changed his mind the night before. He won the contest. This was the day he moved into his college dorm. I drove 6 hours alone and then back again. I cried in a gas station parking lot and never told him. I was at the wedding. I wasn't in the photos. So I made my own. I uploaded them as an album titled What They Didn't See. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't send it to David. I just posted it on my page and closed the app. By the next morning, the album had over 3,000 shares. By evening, 75 $. And by the end of the week, I had messages from women all over the country. This broke me. I'm the forgotten mom too. I sent this to my kids. They needed to see it. I never expected it to go viral. I just wanted to be seen. I didn't do it to hurt Amanda. I didn't even do it for David. I did it because I finally realized I've spent years letting people crop me out of their lives and calling it love. Not anymore. This time, I was the one holding the frame. It didn't start at the wedding. It started long before, quietly, gently, like a slow fade. The kind you don't notice until you're almost gone. In every family photo, I was always just outside the frame. When David was 5, I was the one behind the camera capturing his sticky hands smashing birthday cake. At 10, I was the one holding the sparklers, while his cousins posed for 4th of July pictures. By high school, I wasn't even invited to take the photos, just to hold jackets and drive kids home afterward. But I told myself it was okay. I was being helpful, supportive, invisible. When Amanda came into the picture, things didn't change, they intensified. She was polite, of course, gracious even, but with a certain curated charm that always felt filtered, like I was standing on a perfectly staged set, and she wasn't quite sure where I belonged. I remember the first family dinner after their engagement. Amanda arrived in a cream-colored sweater dress, nails freshly manicured. She handed me a gift bag with a small candle and said, "I thought this scent would suit you, lavender and linen. Very soft." I smiled and thanked her, but it stung in a way I couldn't name. Later that night, she took group photos for her blog. She posed with David, with her parents, even with the golden retriever her family adored. Then she asked me to take a few behind-the-scenes shots. I did. Then I offered gently, "Would you like one with me and David?" She hesitated. "Oh, let's do that next time when the lighting's better." That next time never came. Still, I stayed hopeful. That's what mothers do. We wait for the moment we're invited in. When the bridal shower came around, I asked if I could bring cupcakes. Amanda said the dessert table had been carefully designed, but store-bought would be fine. So I made my lemon cupcakes from scratch anyway, and watched as they sat untouched at the far corner of the table. When the official engagement photos were posted online, I wasn't in them. Not one. But Amanda's extended cousins from Wisconsin, who David had met twice, were tagged smiling wide. David didn't even notice. Or maybe he did and didn't know what to say. That's the hardest part when your child doesn't know how to stand between the woman he loves and the woman who raised him. So I kept stepping back. I wore muted colors. I didn't ask questions. I let Amanda's mother take the lead on everything from centerpieces to ceremony songs. I was told my seat would be near the aisle, but not in the front row for balance. When I asked about family portraits, Amanda said we're going for a very modern minimalist look. We'll make sure to grab one of you with David during cocktail hour. They never did. And I didn't push. But something inside me, something small and steady, began to whisper, "You don't have to keep disappearing to be loved." It wasn't loud. Not yet. But it was growing stronger. The morning of the wedding was cool and cloudy, the kind of day where even the sky seems undecided. I woke up early, long before my alarm, and sat at the edge of the hotel bed with my hands folded in my lap. I had laid my dress out the night before, a deep navy chiffon, simple and timeless. I'd had it tailored just for the occasion. Not too flashy, not too dull. Amanda had mentioned staying within the color palette, so I chose something respectful. Forgettable even. That's what she wanted from me, presence without imprint. At the venue, guests gathered on the lawn for the pre-ceremony photos. Laughter floated through the air, mingling with the scent of roses and the clink of champagne flutes. Amanda's family took photos in matching pastels. Her father stood front and center, beaming. Her mother posed like she'd been rehearsing for months. When the photographer began directing David's side of the family, I stood by, waiting for instruction. He looked at his assistant and said, "Okay, we'll start with immediate family." I stepped forward. Amanda touched his arm. "Let's do your cousins first. We'll fit your mom in at the end." I stepped back. I smiled, nodded, pretended not to feel the flush rising to my cheeks. One photo, then another and another. The group kept shifting, add this person, remove that one. A dance of inclusion I never quite entered. Eventually they moved on. The photographer packed up and headed inside. No one called me back. No one noticed. During the ceremony, I sat in the third row, not the front, but close enough to see their faces. I watched as Amanda walked down the aisle. She was beautiful, David was glowing, and I was proud. I really was. But I was also tired. At the reception, I asked the wedding planner if I could speak with the photographer for one quick portrait. She said he was already booked to leave after the first dance. I asked Amanda if we could take a quick picture, just me and David. She gave a tight smile. "Let's not make this about you." The words sliced cleanly. I excused myself from the table. Back in the hotel that night, I stood in front of the mirror and stared at myself. My lipstick had faded. My hair had loosened in the breeze. But I still looked like someone who mattered, even if no one else seemed to think so. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I took a picture of myself, alone, no filters, no fancy lighting, just me, tired, proud, and standing. I didn't know it then, but that was the first photo in the album that would change everything. Because after years of being asked to stand behind the lens, I was finally ready to step in front of it. And this time, no one was going to crop me out. The photo sat in my phone gallery for 2 days. I didn't touch it. I didn't look at it. I wasn't ready. But on the third day, I woke up early. I made coffee, and I pulled out the shoebox. It was dusty, a little crushed on one side. Inside were hundreds of old photos, curled edges, fingerprints, faded colors, all the moments no one had ever asked to see. Me holding David after his first fever broke. Me with flower in my hair at his 7th birthday party cake, half burned but proudly decorated. Me in the bleachers with a thermos, watching him warm the bench during a middle school game, not because he was good at sports, but because he liked being part of something. I held each photo like a piece of me I had forgotten to protect. And then, I made the album. I scanned each image one by one. I didn't crop them. I didn't edit my wrinkles, my weight, my weird expressions. I left them all because they were mine. Because they were real. I uploaded them into a new folder on my laptop and titled it "What They Didn't See." Then I added captions. Not angry, not bitter, just true. The day he learned to ride a bike. I ran alongside him until my legs gave out. No one else was there. This was his senior prom. I bought the suit secondhand and sewed the hem myself. No photographer took this one. I just set the timer and sat beside him. We had just finished eating grilled cheese on the couch after a hard day. Finally, I added the picture from the wedding night, the one I took in front of the hotel mirror. The one where I looked both tired and strong, both invisible and fully alive. They didn't take a photo with me at the wedding, so I took one for myself. Then I went to Facebook. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't mention names. I didn't rage or accuse. I simply wrote they didn't include me in the wedding album, so I made my own. This is what love actually looks like. I clicked post. Then I closed the laptop and went about my day. That night, I had 37 notifications. By the next morning, over 2,000 shares. By the end of the week, the post had been seen by nearly 500,000 people. My inbox overflowed with messages. Some were from mothers, I cried reading this. I've been erased too. Thank you for saying what I couldn't. Some were from adult children I called my mom because of you. I never realized how invisible she must have felt. And some were just strangers. You are beautiful. You are worthy. Thank you for reminding us what matters. I sat at my kitchen table in tears, not because I was finally famous, but because for the first time in decades, I felt seen. No one cropped me out. No one told me to sit this one out. No one edited me away. David didn't call right away. But a week later, he sent a message. Mom, I saw the album. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. Can we talk? I didn't answer right away. Because sometimes even the people who love you need to feel your absence before they value your presence. I didn't make the album for revenge. I made it for truth. For mothers who hold the camera and never get handed the spotlight. For women who attend every milestone but vanish from every memory. For myself, because I finally realized if you wait to be invited into the picture, you might never show up at all. The funny thing about going viral is nothing in your own house changes. The kitchen still needs cleaning. The coffee still brews the same. The dog still wants to go out at 6 in the morning. And yet, something is different. Not out there. In here. Inside me. I no longer walk through my days trying to be less. I no longer sit quietly at the edge of my own life, waiting for someone else to hand me a moment. I don't apologize for showing up smiling too brightly, wearing color, or asking for a seat. The album didn't just go viral, it opened something in me that had been closed for years. And more than that, it opened something in others. A women's magazine emailed me a week after the post. They wanted to run a short story about the album, but what they really wanted was the message behind it, that love isn't a filtered image or a staged pose. It's the mother who always shows up even when no one bothers to turn her way. Then a local gallery reached out. They were hosting a show called Unseen Women. They wanted to feature some of my photos, not the perfect ones, the real ones. The messy kitchen, the half-lit birthday cake, the blurry soccer shots. They said those were the ones that mattered most. I stood at the opening night with my arms crossed and my eyes stinging. Strangers looked at me like I was someone. Not someone's mother, not someone's +1, just someone. David came too. He didn't say much at first, just stood beside me, hands in his pockets, face soft. When we walked over to the photo of him at age 10, covered in grass stains, and smiling beside me on the porch, he said, I forgot this one even existed. I never did, I said. He looked at me, the way a man looks at a woman he's seeing clearly for the first time, not just as a parent, but as a person. And then he said the words I'd waited a long time to hear, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I think I got used to you always being there. I nodded. It's okay, but I won't be invisible again. He smiled. I hope not. Amanda didn't come. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant to be part of your healing. Some people are just the reason you started the journey in the first place. Now I print new photos regularly, not for social media, for myself, for my wall, For the box, I'll pass on someday, not to prove anything, but to leave a record I was here. I mattered. I loved fully and refused to disappear. I take selfies now. I ask strangers to take pictures of me when I travel. I don't shy away from the camera anymore. I lean in. I'm no longer waiting to be included. I include myself. Have you ever stood on the outside of your own life, watching others smile for the camera while you held it? Have you ever been left out of a photo, a moment, a memory, because someone else didn't think you mattered? This story isn't just mine. It's for every woman who's ever been cropped out, silenced, or asked to step aside. Tell your story in the comments. Post your favorite photo of yourself, one where you felt proud, present, and real. Tag a friend who deserves to be seen. Because this time, we don't wait for permission to be in the picture. We take it.